Okay. Okay. Mhm. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening to whichever part of the world you're now joining. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey on the GMBS Live, Voice of the Nation, Gavin Matthews-Bey Show. Good evening to you all, those who are now joining. Share the live. Hold on. Share the live. Share the live. Let those know that Dr. Matthews is in the house. Share the live. Yeah. Share the live. This evening we'll go up to 7 o'clock because I have a few important matters to attend. So I decided to come to you now live a whole half an hour in advance so we can utilize the time. A pleasant good evening to you all the way from Guyana. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to you. Share the live before I start. Share the live. It'll take another minute. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Share the live. To those who are now joining, share the live. Okay, share the live. Okay. Uh, yep, we're going to start now. A pleasant good evening to you. Welcome. Welcome to those who are all now joining to this Dr. Matthews-Bey show, Gavin Matthews-Bey, one out of the two. A very, very pleasant good evening to you, all the way from Guyana to the Caribbean and around the world. Tonight's compliments come to you of Black Love. Black Love is a design that is made and designed by me and patented by me, owned by me to stand against oppression, slavery, racism, murder, dictatorship. That's what it stands for. That's why I had created that brand. It's not to represent, it's not about a representation of a people that we may call black. It's not that. It's to stand against these injustices that the democratic administrations pour out upon people that are called their citizens. And that's the reason for Black Love. So, good evening to you once again, and I welcome you to the show. Share the live, press that live button, share it, and let people see that Dr. Matthews B is on. Good. I want to talk tonight about the Ottoman Empire. And before I proceeded to the Ottoman Empire, I'm going to say a few things that I think I need It needs to be corrected. Oh, boy. Very pleasant good evening to you. You're on the Dr. Matthews-Bey show. Good evening. Hello. Good evening to you. You're on to the Dr. Matthews-Bey show. Are you hearing me?
Oh, I'm not hearing you very well.
You're on to the
Not really.
You're on to the Dr. Matthews-Bey show. The show has already started.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, Gavin. I'm so sorry to be late on with the program. What's your topic tonight?
No, I started early because I have somewhere to go the next hour. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, the topic tonight is based upon the Ottoman Empire, but I can give you a 5 minutes because I'm now starting, so you can you can pitch in a few thoughts to help me start up, so I can be able to everybody can hear your voice.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. Thank you so much. I'm actually late on the program, but I wanted to congratulate you in the very good job that you're doing in educating the public about the various um, aspects of I guess your enlightenment in the in the history of our people.
Yeah.
And I wanted to congratulate you again and again, and to encourage you to keep up the good work, no matter what nobody say. Your job, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're getting the message over, and I guess that is really getting to the target audience, and it's also getting on the nerves of the people who don't want you to do what you're doing. So again, keep up the good work, and continue to do what you're doing. Okay,
Okay.
I thank you so much.
I'll give you a call when I finish. I think I know why you're calling me.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All righty, Gavin. Take care.
Okay, you too. Stay safe and be careful. Bye bye. So there we have my very good friend. She normally calls in, and I haven't heard her voice for a little while. I figure out that she's working pretty much hard, or she's pretty much hard at work to get things done for her family and self. So I want to start tonight about the Ottoman Empire. And to those who are responding to me on the comment section, please don't forget to put in the word BEY, B. It's Gavin Matthews slash B. B is my title. It is a title that leads back to my ancestry that gives me the right to proclaim what is rightfully mine. The right to have inalienable rights like any other living soul. So, I want to respond to my brothers and sisters who came from and I say brothers and sisters, I didn't say Aboriginal. I say brothers and sisters who came from the area is what in what we call East Asia, those who came from Hindustan or now known as India. Excuse me. I want to get this specifically clear. It's a very clear message. So, from tonight or from today, anybody who says different are not only misinterpreting me, but is also ignorant. And I don't want to participate in anything that promotes or produces ignorance. And ignorance means not knowledgeable of the fact, and that is not my style. It's a waste of time. Now, to my East Asian or East Indian brothers and sisters who came to this country via way of who for parents came to this country via way of indentured laborers. And I want to make this absolutely clear. You would have heard me or overheard me saying that some people have dates of entry. That's not a lie, it's a fact. I would not sit here and divulge upon things that are not factual. Let me get it clear. You came to this country, and that process is what you call, yes, you came to this country, and that process is what you call a date of entry. And that's your forbearance I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, you didn't come to this country, you came into a system that is situated on the continent of South America. That system is a corporation. You came via a corporation. You cannot have aboriginal or natural ownership to the land, which are the rightful heirs of America. The rightful heirs or heirs of America are those who have lineage to the land. You call them soul heirs to the land. And why you say soul? Because they are living souls. You do not have soul heirs to the land. But then you're going to say we came here as slaves. No, we didn't. We were living here all the time for thousands of years. And why were we living here for thousands of years? I'm going to take that process to educate you now. About a million years ago, there wasn't the continent of Kush and the continent of South, Central, and North America. It was one big landmass. So, by there were one big landmass, we lived on that landmass. Before the continents were broken up, before they had that massive earthquake or the end of the age of the dinosaur, they had massive continental shifts where the platonic plates that are under these landmass move apart from each other, creating not only a split between landmass and formation of continents and islands. Hold on. Yes. But before all of that, we were once inhabitants, and we not once, we are inhabitants of those places. What had happened over a period of time, our forefathers would have built ships to navigate the oceans, to get in contact with their other brothers and sisters that lived upon these landmass. And by living on those landmass, we had names and titles. You never hear when you go to school years ago, not now, they call it surname, but years ago the teacher would say, what's your first name and what's your title? You remember that? The title would have been the given ear, the name to the given ear of your ancestry lineage, to the place in which you came from, the identification of the household, and the ownership. And we were regarded as living souls. We didn't see ourselves as human or human beings or Anglo Saxons, according to the Caucasites. We saw ourselves as living souls. That's how we identified ourselves. So after the Europeans and all these people started coming on board thousands of years after, come here and meet us. They studied us, they studied our culture. They realized that our culture is so very vast different from them. We were advanced in technology. We were advanced in science and medicine. We use the natural herbs of the field, not only to give ourselves healing products, but to also consume so we can continue to be healthy as living souls. But what happened after a while? We started having civilized and civilizations popping up, people owning parts of lands and all these things. Again, they were aboriginals. So what happened, especially on our quota, is that they ventured into the Americas and they realized, started from the US, United States. How do you think the British and the French and the Europeans meet to the United States? They found aboriginals there. They found vegetation, they found farming, they found cattle rearing, they found a whole lot of stuff. And they started with their trade. And they realized having slaves would have been the good prime example of business because that's how they gain money by buying slaves and have the slaves do the same thing that we have. Another important topic that came up whilst doing our historical studies is that we were not only a civilized set of people, but we were also claims. We were heirs of the entire earth that we're upon, not only a specific section. During the rise and the fall of the Ottoman Empire, you found that we fought against people like ourselves. The Germans, you would never like to see the Germans. They were huge and dark, swarthy type of people. They call them swarthy. That means dark in complexion. The Russians, the Syrians, the British, you wouldn't even like to see the noble Brits or the noble Englishmen. Oh my gosh, they were dark like you and I. Every other race that you would have find now coming into play with our society would have come with one thing: a date of entry. Because you're new to the land. You never came to this part before. This is why Christopher Columbus said he discovered the Americas, because he never came to these lands before. This was his first voyage and venture. I didn't say adventure, I said and venture. These were the first time that these people sail and come to these parts of the world or these parts of the earth. And they say they discovered. When they came and meet us, they came with an entry date. Because the only way you can log in to the information that, oh, I first see these persons. Years so. These are the first sets of inhabitants of this place. So to my East Asian brothers and sisters, I don't want you to feel that I am saying something that is not ineffective. It is effective. The information that I'm giving is real. You have no lineage to these land in which you are claiming because you were brought here. So you have an entry date, even to the land in which you came from, that you then call Hindustan. You have a date of entry. And the beautiful thing, when you find the way in which you came, that lineage, you would find that that part in which you came from the Sahara area of Africa, which they now call Africa. You got the places that they can identify you: Somalia, Libya, Sudan, and Ethiopia. That means you would have strolled your way across the desert to find yourself where you are now. That they call India. Even to that area, it's a date of entry. So when I was sitting and I was trying to explain to some of you why you could not have known about the history of Guyana because, or the history of the South America or the Americas, is because you don't have any lineage here. That's a fact. And the people who have the lineage to these lands, those are the people that they're enslaved, because enslavement means to take away your rights as a person, as a living soul. That's what enslavement means. Take away your inalienable rights, the right to life, liberty, and property. If I take those three things away from you, you're not a living soul anymore. You're owned. You're enslaved. That is why they enslaved majority of us, because we have our lineage, we have our rights. They knew that. So in order to take that away from us, they need to enslave the people. Teach them a different language, take away their culture. They took away everything. They didn't take it away from you who are indentured, who has an entry. They didn't take it away from you. That is why you could have keep your culture. That is why Hinduism, and that is how Hinduism came to these shores of America, which a corporation of the Republic of Guyana sits upon. That is why Hinduism, that is how it came. It didn't just popped up. It was a people who came, who were brought here. And they came with their religion, they came with their culture, they came with everything. They never took it away from you because their intention wasn't to enslave you. The intention was to make you servitude, cheap labor. You work hard, we pay you a little bit, we pay you meager money, and that's it. And you know why they started doing that? Because the slaves then started rebelling, especially those that took from here and they took them to Europe, England, France, Germany. And people would ask me, but how would they take, like a guy asked me today, how would you take people of Aboriginal origin, took them to a different land as slaves, and they had free people that look just like them? This is the problem. Let me tell you why. If I'm educated, if I taught you to read and write as a carcassite, if I taught you to do business, if I taught you to do majority of everything that you have right now, right now, how can you enslave me? You can't. Can't take that away from me. So what will happen? You wouldn't enslave me. You would enslave the weaker versions of me. And after a while, what happens? The population begins to grow because they not only enslaved them, they started breeding slaves. So you eventually have marriages and intermarriages, and it started mixing in the population, and that's how they change the concept of history. That's how they change the concept of our identity. They started rejecting us, as we call ourselves, Ottomans or Moorish nobles or Moorish Americans, and start giving us names, brands that you call it, black, Negro, names like that, like boy. So our history, to my friend last night, it is far beyond what he thinks it is. I mean, I owe you no explanation. You need to research your own story. I am doing so. But I'm now telling the world that our story didn't begin at slavery. Slavery was a gesture, and a very bad gesture, in the history of living souls. Our story began far beyond, far before slavery, very much far before slavery, thousands of years. So, to my goodly friends who are citizens of the corporation, a corporation which means a slave plantation, that's what it means. That's what the Republic of Guyana means. It's a corporation. The corporation has entered into a treaty with England, and that still exists on to a day like today. It is the treaty. It's a business entity. So, to those who are part of that plantation, I am saying to you that the only way the plantation cannot hold on to you as their product, it is when you declare yourself a national native, or when you proclaim who you are because of your identity, which it means the Moorish American, not a citizen, as a Moorish American. In the corporation, you're a citizenship because you belong to the trade and exercise of the sea. So that's why they use ship to its course. How you think the word bank becomes what it is. You see, you're going to Citizens Bank and Republic Bank. It represents trade and commerce on the ocean, where the ships sail in and dock on the bank of Demerara, or the east coast bank of Demerara, or the east bank of Demerara. That is what it means. That's what banks means. That's the representation of it. It means commerce. And where do you get commerce from? Off the ship. Yes, off the ship. That's why the laws in which we think we are guided by becomes the laws of the sea. It doesn't the land, it's not the laws of the land. They came here and meet people, so you cannot bring laws when you already meet law. Law means the people. ISLAM. You call it Islam. I self law am master. ISLAM. The people are the law. You call it Islam. But when you say that, people think it's a religion, it's a culture. It is the origination of the living soul. ISLAM. Islam. I self law am master. It means the people, the person that you're looking at, like me. What the system did along with the church is take out S and L and leave I am. I am master. That's why when they talk about the scriptures, when Moses says, well, who should I say sent me? And then the voice said, well, say, I am that have sent you. But they missed out S and L. Because right there and then you had to figure out, well, look, your existence depended upon you. You were already made in his own image and likeness. We were the only ones that carry out his origination. Sad to say that, but that's the fact. That's the identity. The ab-original man, abstract from the father. AB, original. You call it ab-original. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Nobody wants to know where we're from. We're suddenly we're suddenly a people that are inferior. No, we're not inferior. We only become inferior when we become weak, when we increase the belief system. You no longer know who you are, but you believe this is who you are. You see the difference? The democracy that we follow by teaches us that we no longer know who we are. That's what democracy it was put in place for, to change that concept in our brain. So we no longer know. So when you don't know, you can't use more than the percentage of your brain. That's why they say we could only use 10% of our cerebral capacity because we believe that we can't use more than that. But if you know that you can use more than that, well, then your belief changes. You started knowing. And when you're knowing, it advances the spiritual aspects of your life. You never sat down and hear it says, two man don't meet, but two mountain meets. If I could change it around. It takes a man to move two mountains. Takes a man to give that command. O thou mountain, be thou be removed. The days in which we walk the earth, and if we walking across the let us say a lake, the water would have parted because of our highly spiritual presence. Islam, I self law am master. You could only attain that unless you're spiritually motivated. Like they say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Can you imagine how false that is? If the spirit is willing, it's strengthened. How can the flesh be weak? The only way that could happen is if you're dead. But how can you have a strong spirit and walk around in a weak physical state? You cannot. As the spirit advances, so does the body. If the body is dead and the spirit is still living, that means the spirit is dead. You're weak. The spirit only believes that it's alive. The spirit doesn't know that because it's based upon a belief system. So when they say, "Oh, you're black," or like they like call you, "Hey, black man," and you respond, you know what you're doing there? You're giving identification to yourself. You should never let nobody call you black man. When those who operate racist against you, you should laugh at them. Tell them I can only feel sorry for you because you're a product of the system. You can only regurgitate. You cannot eat, swallow, or digest to satisfy or to gain health. Sorry. You could only regurgitate. As you eat, you vomit up back. Because that's what the system is. That's what democracy is. Tell them that when they operate racist. Say, man, look, I really feel sorry for you. You're a product of the system. Because that's what the system tells you who you are. And when you identify it, then you become part of the system because the system now weakens you. It tells you that you're black and you're poor. You can't get no way. Like what the lawyer told the police woman that black people don't get no way. Who you think he was referring to? He was referring to those who were part of the system. That's why some of them know where they are. Some of them knows very well what's taking place. Some of our own people who are part of the same political and legal fraternity knows exactly what's going on, knows exactly what I'm speaking about. And to awake the people, oh no, they can't do that. They getting too much fiat money. What's the amazing thing? Look at the stupid thing, right? Money is garnered from gold and silver. Because in the olden days, if you read the scriptures, it says, for Judas accepted 30 pieces of silver. That was the money. How can a piece of paper with a little ink now replaces that? When the original thing, the resource, that's money. Not a piece of paper, the resource of the land. That's money. Gold and silver, the natural resources of the land, the natural extract. Suddenly, a piece of paper with a little ink replaces that. They're coming all the way from whichever part of the world. You can imagine all the Western society are coming down to us here to collect our natural resources, which is our wealth, and give us pieces of paper, which is not wealth. It does not represent wealth. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? They're coming all the way to our shores under a corporate entity to extract our resources and give us paper, pieces of paper with some ink on it. And we're fighting and killing ourselves over it. The piece of paper making no sense. That's why I asked the question, can we feed the earth? Can we toil the earth with the money that we receive to grow the produce? Because when you're collecting this money, how we are doing? You're paying what? You're paying to live? What side you paying this money? The thing is that this money could only be exchanged between services. Now they add goods to it. But when you check it, it's really service. Because you can't add nothing to it. Not valuable that is a produce or a product of the earth can add to the wealth of that piece of paper with some ink on it. So, my goodly brother, when I say to you that you have a date of entry, that is the truth. What you need to do is, and because I, I'm not only fighting for my lineage, as a matter of fact, I'm not only declaring a proclamation to my lineage of the land in which I am from, my birthright, which is America, as a Moorish American, here on the South American continent, because I have proof. I am entitled to such proof. What are the proof? The right to life, liberty, and property, inalienable rights. Not an alien rights. An alien is a foreign. That's why when they talk about those who came here via indentureship or via earlier, and those who have a date of entry, their relation goes to foreign relations. Their relations go to immigrants because that is who they are. They identify them as Indian immigrants. There is no lineage that you can claim to a place that you came and meet the people, not even to those who are claiming rights right now through the corporate system can have rights. The word is not African. To those who are looking, the word is not African, it's not black, it's not Negro. That's an identity of of a democratic system. We are not that. You either call us Ottomans, Moorish, Indigenous, or Aboriginals. Those are the names that you can call us because we have rights to that land. We are living souls. That is our identification. We're not two-thirds of a human being. You understand? Mr. Juke, again, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I am not an Israelite. I am never a Jew. We were not that. We don't come with a name given by a system. We're here by an indigenous aboriginal identification. Look at the names and ask yourself those questions. I don't know why we're calling ourselves Israelites. Ask yourself this question. In the days of biblical understanding that we call as the epistles and the letters and the books that makes up the Bible, you check it. In those days, will you ask yourself, Israelites? Israel? It's a Greek word. Oh, that didn't exist. You ask yourself, Jesus or Jesus? No, that let you know what was the name. Hmm? Yahweh and bin Yahweh. So how can I call myself Israelites? There no such word as Jacob or Jacob. It's Greek. You get my point? Even to the days that they say Christ walked the earth, there were no such man as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those were names given when the Council of Nicaea was accumulated to create one book, which they call the Bible, the Holy Scripture. They ain't got no person like the name in that time. You know what language they spoke? Do you know what language they spoke? Check through the African, the entire continent of Africa. 90% of the people in the continent of Africa know one language, Swahilian, because it was prevalent throughout the entire continent. Prevalent Swahilian. That's why when we hear the word obia, we get frightened. We think about witchcraft. Oh my gosh, that's witchcraft. Oh Lord, this person is doing evil. But if we check, it's a Swahilian word, means obey the natural nature or the natural laws of nature. That's what it means. That's why when the Greek and the Spanish trying to translate the word, they get the word obey from it. It's like you give us our own history, plagiarize it and give it back to us. Centralize it with European contexts and names and written understandings. Instead, we stand over the comprehension of words under it. That's why it is confusing to us because we keep standing under these comprehension of the words when we say, okay, I understand. But we don't know that the natural energy to create these words that we call the spirit. That's why I say to be a more, you have to be highly spirited. Because there and then you'll understand when you speak words, it becomes law. So in order to speak words to become law, you have to create an energy to create. It's like how I'm speaking right now. I have to create energy to sit down to talk to you over social media about certain pronunciation and comprehensions of words. In our understanding, we call it the etymology of words. And sometimes I use the same word understanding because I'm trying to relate to you. But if you comprehend what I'm saying, you stand over it. That means it's in your brain, it cannot come out. You start dissecting it. You colonize it within your brain and you're trying to use it in meanings. So when you speak with the tongues of men and of angels. You speak with power and authority. So when you speak again, you say that I shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that I create in the time of energy and my spiritual knowledge, that it becomes food to me. So when I'm about to speak it, every time I am pregnant with knowledge and wisdom, willing to share it. It's not for you to keep, it is for you to edify your brothers and sisters. So I can't hide the truth. I can't say, you know, we're all Guyanese and we gotta live together. Yeah, we gotta live together, but you gotta know the truth. What is the truth? You have a date of entry. That is the truth. You can't tell me about me when you came here and meet me. Don't do like what the Europeans do. They came here and meet us and they're trying to tell us, who am I? We're finding words. When we tell them that they're Caucasites, they get vexed. Oh, you come from the mountains of Caucasus. That's where your history is. Go there and find out. They ain't like the, you know, yes. Yes, Miss Betsy Freeze, I'm on to something. And if you had joined earlier, you'd have realized I'm talking about the Moorish Americans that are situated in the same country you're living in the United States, the corporation of the United States. They're living right where that corporation is situated in the 52 corporate states of the United States. Type in the word Moorish American community. But I have to tell you the truth. You remember now I was here and I was talking about the democratic process and how they're going against it, they're taking away our rights and they're violating the Constitution. But when you find out the Constitution was based upon democracy, what is democracy? Democracy is a shadow government of the nobles of who controls the world organizations that they call corporate entity. It's an enterprise. It's there for business. And who are the nobles? People like Adolf Hitler. He was one of them. Do people know that Madeleine Albright related to him? It runs through the family. The family are the people who controls the world. No strange person comes in. Do you know that Obama's mother was married to a relative of Hitler? That was his stepfather. A lot of us don't know. And I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about his Caucasian mother. There's only one mother he had, anyhow. But we don't know these things. Do we know that Madeleine Albright, no, Angela Merkel is a descendant of Hitler? But they're not going to tell you that. They ain't going to tell you that. You look and see when an heir to any empire does not attain leadership within a corporation, it goes haywire, goes down the drain because they want them there. They want the family who are heirs to that empire to keep on and continue running these corporations. So that is the democracy that we're talking about, where it's divided within a noble set of people, a minority, not a majority. that controls the whole world, that runs a shadow government. What is a shadow government? Corporations. What do corporations do? Continue the corporate entities, continue to oppress corporate entities, racial destabilization, identity, systematic identity like black, negro, and all these things. That's what the democracy is all about. And we raise up our hands and we clench our fists and we say, yeah, black power, and the democracy smiles. Because they're saying, yes, they're going again, they're going to what we're putting them to do. But when you wake up and realize that you're a product of the system, which means a slave, and you rebel, you become like Gavin Matthews. Oh, no, you talking the wrong things. And then they're going to put people. Hear what the system does. They're going to put people that they claims to be doctors and lawyers and have a PhD and have master's degree and all these people that was certified by the system to tell you, the one who's pretty much sensible, the noble, to say, oh, he's mad. Don't listen to him. He's crazy. He's running off. Like if I tell you, and I said last night, but I think most of you didn't listen. I said instead of 12 months, 1 year is 7 months, 1 year. A lot of people still didn't believe. Count 52 days in 1 month and see what you come up with. Check it out. Ask yourself, how many days a week? 7 days. How many weeks a month? Four. So it's 28 days. So how they arrive at 365 days and 28 days in every month? So how they get 30 days and 31 days? Ask yourself this question. Don't look at me and say, well, I look like the madman. Ask yourself in the same system that you're living. The first thing you're going to say, well, me able to ask myself the question because I don't die in it. What I going to do? But yet still, you want to tell me that I'm racist or that I little running a little crazy. What if I tell you, look at the school system? Take a look at those buildings that you see you sending your children into every day to learn an education that belongs to animals. And educate and educate are two different things. Look at the building. When you finish looking at the building, go to the prison and look at the prison and see if the buildings are not the same. And when they go to jail and they come out, who doesn't come out liberated still remains a product of the system. But remember, law depends upon what you say. And I say, I am Aboriginal. That's law. I say, I declare my nationality. I'm Moorish American. It becomes law. And they can't take that from me. They can never take that away from me. But I want to thank all those who had the opportunity to be here with me tonight on this 1 hour special program. I know I started early. This wasn't the topic that I wanted to talk upon tonight. I was so fired up that I'm going to refrain on that topic for tonight and use it for tomorrow night. Tonight was just a simple overstanding upon the knowledge that I have gained towards who I am and to explain to my East Asian or East Indian brother that he has a date of entry. I don't. But that doesn't make him inferior. But that tells him that I have more priority. Sad to say the word, but I do. It is my inalienable rights to which he's alien to. That's the fact. So I have rights to life, liberty, and property. It is my ancestral rights. You cannot take that. Why I think those who are in the indigenous areas of Guyana keep on saying and talking about ancestral rights. Till they themselves who has a date of entry going and become tishaus of the of the villages. Only God in heaven knows how they become tishaus. Or they're going and mix themselves up within the population. You call it integration. Just to acquire rights to property. Yeah, just to acquire rights to property. So they can claim. You have to study the system. You have to dissect it. You got to chip it up, chop it up into pieces, and learn to set it. Because within the puzzles, there are puzzles being hidden that you got to take it out and clean it to put it back together again. That's the shadow government. My name is Dr. Matthews-Bey. I appreciate the time that I spent here with you this evening, and I want to keep on spending more time so I can edify you. I can bring to you the information so you'll be able to comprehend what is being given to you. And I hope you go and read. Start reading the information. Go, it's on the internet. If you want to divulge more into the information, call me on 611 6575. The information is free. I wouldn't hide anything from you. But you got to learn one thing. You got to learn to proclaim that I, self law, am master. We got to know that. We got to proclaim I, self law, am master. Islam. You saw the words are broken up, and the Council of Nicaea took it and shortened it, take out S and L and leave I am. I am master. I am. When you say I am the I am, but only one person could be I am the I am, which is God. But you forget that you are the I am. You forget when you're talking to people, you say, oh, I am Gavin Matthews. Why you say I am? Because we follow historical facts and we do not personalize it as religion. We personalize it as heritage. We personalize it as our lineage because that is where we're from. As again, I want to say thank you very much. Black Love always is available. The brand is available on instruments and clothing. You'll be able to purchase it. Please call again 592-611-6575. Remember, buying these products or buying, sorry, paying for this brand upon products is to help to strengthen the Gavin Matthews Bay movement for that revolutionary process so we can keep above what we're doing. I want to say to you, stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask, and don't forget the little ones you take into public places. This is Dr. B saying good night and Cheerios for now.